I'm Matthew Williams, and this is 3 Breakdowns in a Divorce.
The little Matthew Williams didn't dream about, Daddy, one day I want to grow up and talk about being depressed. I was able to develop a career in something I'm passionate about, in sport, and then in boxing. I can't sit here and say I had a bad childhood, a bad upbringing, I had this particular trauma. I had some traumatic haircuts, as you can see. But I also had a black dog. Something that had its claws in me and just changed me into something I couldn't even recognise. I was in the grip of something and I was ill. And you get this, oh well, you know, there's some mornings where I don't want to get out of bed. Well, you know what? It's not quite the same thing. I always compare this to kind of being drunk, getting absolutely leathered, right? Now, if you're in bed with the room spinning and you're battered, if I sober as a judge walked into the room, said, "What's up with you?" And he said, "Oh, the room's spinning." I said, "Well, no, it isn't." "Oh, you get up, I need a lift." It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous because they're in a particular state at that time. You're not, because you're not pissed. And it's a similar thing. Depression, you are in its grip. This isn't just something that, say, think happy thoughts and you're all right. One of the pervading myths around mental health is that it's a weakness. There's a big difference between being ill and being weak. And if you don't agree with me, try telling this guy. I mean, we can question his taste in shirts, no doubt, although that said, that probably costs more than I've earned in the last 5 years. Look, if the 6'9" heavyweight champion of the world can be brought to his knees by depression, anybody can. It decided to kick us in the knackers once again. I went through a divorce. You have to get on with it. You have to find a way of picking up the pieces and designing a new life for yourself. The 2 most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. I believe I did find out why here. Tamworth Travelodge. Get in. I just was hit with a compulsion to write. I'd never, ever, ever done anything like that before. There was something in me, I knew it was a significant moment in my life. In some way, this was going to change my life forever. It opened doors and it totally changed my life. In the top left there, that is my Youth Hostelling with Chris Eubank moment. Would you like to come on ITV's Lorraine to talk about men's mental health with Louis Spence from Pineapple Dance Studio? What, eh? How's that happen? Of course I will, yeah. An amazing thing for me was that I eventually became a published author, and I have to say a particular source of pride. I was #1 ahead of 101 dirty text messages. Now, not many people can say that, and I say that knowing just what a good book that is, and I would highly recommend it. Customers who bought my book, they go on to buy fishnet body stocking, open crotch lingerie. Now, I don't know what this is about my book or about the people that read it. I like to think of it as a positive. I realise if my mind has the power to drag me so low and to turn me into somebody I can't even recognise, then there's an opposite to that. There's a flip side to that, and I can soar higher than I ever imagined. I believe most of us are capable of far more than we ever imagined, but we're often held back by fear of what other people think, fear of not being good enough, imposter syndrome, what if I fail? Bollocks, it's what I say to that, bollocks. When you're liberated from what anyone else thinks, you can do anything that you want, because when you couldn't care less how anyone else judges you, you're free at that point to be you and do what you want. The only person that's guaranteed to be on the last side of your story is you. On the last page of your story is you. You've got to live your life in a way that when it comes to that last page, that version of you, hopefully 40, 50, 60 years down the line, they can look back and be proud of the choices you make and thank you for the choices you make today, because they're going to give that 80, 90-year-old version of you no cause for regret. Who we are, our identity, our values, our life, they're a product of the stories you tell ourselves. The stories we tell about who we are, about the other people in our life, about the circumstances in our life. It's all a narrative. And I'm really interested in helping people to understand the narratives in their life, the stories they tell themselves, and questioning whether they're serving them. Issues with identity can play a big role in our self-esteem and our mental health, because if we don't know who we are, or if we feel we have to hide who we are, or if our life doesn't our outward life doesn't reflect the person we know ourselves to be, that's a hugely stressful situation. And again, there's a lot of narrative stories that we tell ourselves or that others have told us that can keep us locked there. And I'm really about helping people to live that life, live that story that's right and best for them, that enables them to flourish. By owning your story, I say by sharing your story, and I don't mean necessarily publishing it to the world, but by being able to recognize when your story may be able to help someone else to face a particular challenge in their life. It's such a powerful thing to be able to do. And through doing that, we change the world. We change one person's life for the better. We change the world. And we all have the power to do that.